Welcome to the Branding Room Only podcast, where we share career stories, strategies, and lessons learned on how industry leaders and influencers have built their personal brands. Now, let's get started with the show. Welcome back to Branding Room Only. I'm your host, Paula Edgar, and today I'm sharing something special, a reflection on this past year and a heartfelt thank you to the incredible guests who've joined me on the podcast in 2024. Now, I am grateful for all of my guests, past and future, and every single conversation has been a learning experience and an opportunity to reflect on some of the importance and nuances of personal branding. But today, I'm highlighting some of the moments and messages that really stood out to me this year. So as we dive in, I want you to think about your own highlights, the lessons you've gathered from the people around you, from the podcast, and the moments that's defined your personal brand this year. I hope that these reflections will inspire you just as they've continued to inspire me. So first, let's start with a few of my guests who focus on leadership, business growth, resilience, and career development. First up is Ben Wilson. Ben's insight into resilience and leadership during challenging times truly resonated with me. He is someone who understands the power of staying the course and finding strength in adversity. And if there's one thing I took away from our conversation, it's that resilience isn't just about getting through tough times. It's about growing from them. Ben's story was so profound, I had to split it into two parts. He truly was the best. Then we had Jason Levin, and Jason shared practical advice on networking and relationship building during our episode. He reminded us that networking is really about building connections that last and that we need to follow up. Jason's tips were so easy to implement that I still find myself using them today, and I know that many of you do too. So remember, follow up. And of course, then there was Chris DeSantis. Chris was hilarious. He helped us to understand generational differences in the workplace, which is so relevant in today's multi-generational workforce. He shared strategies for enhancing workplace communication and making it possible for different generations to work together effectively. His message is that every generation has something to teach the others, and understanding this can be the key to productivity and harmony at work and at home. Our conversation itself was a perfect example of some of the differences in generational communication that can work to promote the best in each other. Love that conversation. So now let's continue to talk about communication and talk about the guests who focus on personal branding and the power of communication. Minda Hart was incredible in her episode, where she shed light on equity and inclusion in the workplace. Minda has dedicated her career to advocating for underrepresented voices and Black women in particular. And she's taught us all so much about the importance of speaking up and advocating not only for ourselves, but for each other. I really love Minda's authenticity. She talks about hip hop and Beyonce, and her ability to have deep connections with leaders by teaching them about building trust, which is such an important piece of your personal brand. And then there was Mary Abbajay. Mary shared insights into managing up, which is a concept that I think about every professional can benefit from. She taught us that influence can happen at any level, right? We're leading from every level, and that taking ownership of your workplace relationships is an essential part of your career growth. Mary's approach to influence is something that we can all learn from and continue to. And she is so much fun and always a hoot to talk to. I love that episode. Then there was Amber Wright. Amber brought her expertise in storytelling and communication and emphasizing that authentic storytelling is at the heart of building deep connections. Her insights helped many of us rethink how we communicate and how we share our stories, both personally and professionally. And we laughed so much during this episode. I really, really, really loved having my conversation with Amber. And then Damali Peterman. Damali is a true master of conflict resolution and negotiation. And it was fantastic to discuss her work, which applies not just in business, but across the board. Her book, Negotiating While Black, offers techniques for navigating difficult conversations with both confidence and respect. And Damali reminded us that negotiation isn't just a skill, it's an art and an important one when it comes to representing yourself authentically in every interaction you're in. Okay, now let's talk about the creativity and the arts, how they intersect with personal branding. First up was singer and performer Janina Burnett. And she brought us into her world as a performer and shared how she integrates her artistry into her personal brand. Her episode was a reminder of the importance of passion and persistence and innovation and how they play a big part in shaping our unique brands. I also love telling the story of how we met at one of my favorite New York restaurants, Del Frisco's, at the bar. And then we had Paula Boggs. Paula Boggs, musician, attorney, and all around true rock star for what I call the Paula times two episode. Paula is a true brand innovator. She has crafted a career that beautifully balances creativity and professionalism, showing us that our brands can be multifaceted and still authentic. And her story and her vast experiences are truly, truly amazing. She is an example of embracing all aspects of who we are without compartmentalizing or our identities. Like it really, truly helped me to hear about all of her experiences, how she showed up with bravery and authenticity in all the spaces she was in. And her resilience and passion continue to inspire me, and I know so many more of us as well. Next up, you all know that the impactful work of diversity, equity, inclusion, or DEI, is close to my heart and my work. And I am so grateful for guests who brought their unique perspectives on these issues. First up, Sabrina Jenkins. Sabrina shared her journey and the experiences that she's faced navigating DEI within large organizations. She is a true leader and a champion for inclusion, and her strategies for advocating for change within companies were both practical and inspiring. And I really, really love Sabrina sharing about the lessons that she learned from her father and her uncle and how they still continue to help shape her work and her leadership. Speaking of leadership, next up is Robert Gray. Robert Gray offered so much wisdom on leadership, community, and legacy, particularly within the legal profession. And his perspective was a powerful reminder that our work has an impact far beyond our immediate circle, that it ripples out into the communities and leaves a legacy that will essentially be there after we are gone. Robert encouraged us to think about the mark that we want to leave. And it really had me reflecting a lot in our conversation. I love being able to sit down and have a talk with Robert. His work continues to have profound impact as his efforts with growing more inclusive leaders through the LCLD Nation continue to build on the impact of DEI and understanding inclusion and why it's important within our profession and beyond. And then there was Renee Myers. This was a total fangirl moment for me. Renee spoke so authentically about vulnerability and the role it plays in building inclusive brands and environments. She reminded us that DEI work is not just about policies, it's about people and empathy. And her words continue to encourage me to approach my own work with empathy and authenticity. Again, speaking to Renee was such a fangirl moment for me, and I am grateful that we had the chance to talk at such an important inflection point for DEI. As a reminder, her message to us was to keep pushing forward. Finally, my recent conversation with Alfonso David, we discussed the Black agenda, social justice, and the critical importance of aligning personal values with professional goals, especially leading up to the pivotal election. His insights on advocacy and DEI reinforced the need to stand firm in our beliefs and to advocate for the changes we want to see. I was truly, truly inspired after our conversation. So now as we wrap up, I want to take a moment to reflect on two incredibly special episodes that are close to my heart. Earlier this year, I had the privilege of re-releasing a two-part episode featuring my father, Peter Griffith. And these episodes were a deeply personal look into our lives and an opportunity to celebrate the incredible life of my mother, Joan Donna Griffith. For me, as you all know, it is truly my honor to keep her legacy alive, sharing her story and the profound impact she has had on all those who knew her and all those who continue to get to know her, while also acknowledging the tragedy that surrounded her passing. Continuing to spread the word about her life and the love she brought into the world is something I hold close, and I'm grateful to have a platform to share her story with all of you. And I hope that you all continue to share her story with others. So if you haven't yet listened to those episodes, I encourage you to tune in. They are a reminder of the resilience, love, and legacy that can shape us all. So there you have it. These are some of my 2024 highlights I am grateful for. I am endlessly grateful to each of my guests for sharing their time, their stories, and their wisdom on personal branding with us. These conversations have not only enriched this podcast, but my own journey, and I hope yours too. As always, everyone, thank you for being a part of this journey, for celebrating these voices with me, and for being a part of the Branding Room Only community. Here's to having some more moments, more reflections, and more ways to honor the people who shape our lives. Until then, next time, stay bold, stay grateful, and remember to stand by your brand. Bye.